The following content does not reflect the opinions of Fox Sports Radio. Frankly, it shouldn't reflect your opinions either.
Fusco Satellite Network.
All right, this guy. All right, let's bring people up to speed on what's going on with them. People who have better things to do than waste their time on this story, As we said up top, there are currently two on-air talent in our business picking fights with each other in what seems like an effort to boost their views and audience, which, is something we don't have to do.
Never.
Because we have such a robust viewing and listening audience as is, in the tens of millions. But as journalists, it's our duty to dig into this major story to get the truth. Now, originally we wanted to bring on someone who could explain and possibly defend the behavior of Jason Whitlock, but we couldn't find anyone who could do that. So instead, all right, here he is, host of Fearless on Blaze Media, Jason Whitlock.
Good to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here, as they say, Jason.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Stephen A. came out with a book about himself, and then you went and claimed he made up a bunch of stuff in it, specifically about his high school basketball career, which I guess you think is important or whatnot. Then he publicly attacked you, and we apologize to our radio audience here, but we must quote Stephen A. directly for journalistic purposes. He said you are a, quote, fat bastard and a bitch, and a, quote, fat fucking piece of shit, and, quote, a roach of an individual, and the devil, and the worst human being you'll ever meet. And I'm paraphrasing here, but the worst, most garbage embarrassment to the human race, and again, the gigantic fat. Okay, so that leads to our first question, Jason. How do you respond to these hurtful but somewhat accurate allegations?
They're not hurtful. They're definitely not accurate. I thought Stephen A. Tapped into his feminine emotional energy and talking about, if you see Jason Whitlock, wrap your arms around your soul. He'll snatch your soul. Man, he sounded like a little woman. He sounded like an actor. And he's a bit, not a bit, he comes across, if you watch a bunch of his interviews and you read his book, he sounds like a pathological liar. He stretches the truth about everything.
What do you say he's lying about? Give us an example here for people who really don't care about this at all.
Well, what I think he's perhaps exaggerating or misleading people, I don't think he earned a basketball scholarship at Winston-Salem State University. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. He says he did it in a one-day tryout in February of 1988, I believe. The guy he was on his high school basketball team for a month or two. He never was any type of player.
Yeah, but my question is, why do you care, and why should anyone care? I'm having trouble caring.
People should care because he's at the top of the sports media. He's the face of ESPN, and he's a guy that stretches the truth constantly.
Okay, all right, but look at yourself, Jason.
Yeah.
Hold on. You claim to have a college football career.
Yeah.
But it appears nobody has any memory of that happening except for you.
Yeah, bro.
Isn't that a little strange?
No, because there's film, there's pictures.
I haven't seen it.
I looked it up, bro. Couldn't find it anywhere.
You ain't looked very hard if you couldn't find it. It's everywhere. Punch my name into Google and go to images, and you can see the little chubby-faced 20-year-old Jason Whitlock in a Ball State uniform.
Hold on, let me just do that. Hold on one moment. Jason Whitlock, chubby, Ball State
uniform, yeah.
Uniform. Not seeing anything. I do see something about going balls deep on a greeting card, it looks like.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how that's related to this.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
What are you looking up?
Anyway.
I played with Bernie Parmalee. Played 10 years.
Right, the great Bernie Parmalee, of course.
I played against Joel Smingy.
Who's next? Bob, I've never heard of you.
What?
Dick, nobody remembers you. Was that someone you played with too?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the number one draft pick in the NFL in 1990? I think his name was Jeff George. We were high school teammates and friends. My football history is documented.
That's the name you want to peg yourself to? Okay.
Jeff George, he didn't go to Ball State. Didn't he go to Illinois?
Yeah, he did, but we played high school football together. We grew up together. He can vouch for me.
Well, we invited a bunch of people on this show, and they all turned us down.
We should have invited Jeff George.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This
You
interview
should've
would have been
invited
better
Jeff
right
George.
now if it was
He
Jeff
set
George.
y'all straight and gave y'all the truth. You should have invited Jeff.
Okay, but here's what I want to know. You're taking shots at Stephen A. He's got this book. It's a bestseller. It has 1,762 reviews. Meanwhile, we looked up your last book. It's got 7 reviews and currently ranks 4,228,944 on all of books on Amazon. I don't really have a question here. I just want to see, aren't you jealous? Is that what's going on?
I'm not jealous. And if you're talking about my collection of columns book that came out in 2000 or 2005 or whatever, I can't even remember. That's not.
Oh, see, you're not accurate with dates.
It came out 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
Oh, but you'll attack Stephen A. for his high school basketball career.
For his half a point or half an assist.
How you average 1.5 points in one game? Can either one of y'all do that?
Well, hold on. Did you consider that maybe they got some like 8th grader, some moron to score the games and he didn't know math?
This is college I'm talking about. This is college where he averaged 1.5
frankly,
points.
let's just not get into this because everybody's bored with this part of the story, Jason, all right?
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Jason, about your career, right? I was surprised that you're attacking someone in sports because I thought you were out of the sports business and into
you're
the
in the
politics
politics.
business. Shouldn't you be attacking, that woman on NBC with the glasses, whatever her name is?
Rachel Maddow or no, listen, have you not been paying attention? I've never left the sports world.
Oh.
Who spent all college football season telling you exactly what was going to happen with Deion?
I don't
Sanders
consume your
and the
content, just
Colorado
like most of
Buffalo?
America, Jason, so please.
Who told everybody knows I was the only guy standing out there telling you Deion Sanders was going to be a flop, that their 4-0 start was meaningless. The team
We didn't bring you on here to talk about any of this, please. Our ratings are going down. We need to focus on the topic. All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's get to this. Dan Lebitard,
Yeah.
on his show, he said, there are people out there that if they saw you in the street, they would run up and punch you. So that leads to a 2-part question. Who are these people? And 2, do you think they'd be potentially interested in, a pay-per-view cage match with you that we could arrange, just for journalistic purposes?
I think you're talking about Mike Ryan. And
Who?
Dan, one of little Dan's sidekick minions says that he beat me up. And he sounds just like another Stephen A. Smith, a guy talking tall trash. Look, man, I'm 56 years old. I'm not fighting anybody. I live in a state, you got a right to carry. Dan and these guys live in a state in Florida where you got a right to carry. They make guns for old people like me, so we don't have to do any more fighting. So
basically, anyone comes up, you're shooting everybody. Just boom, 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 boom.
I'm just saying. I live in a red state for a reason.
What if someone's like, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" Boom, 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 boom.
If someone attacks me, that we still have a right to defend ourselves in this country. Yes.
Oh, so, again, this is just for journalistic purposes. Are you saying that you would shoot at Stephen A. Smith if you saw him? I don't want this becoming like, some kind of clickbait headline on Yahoo Sports or Yardbarker, but it does sound like you were saying Jason Whitlock will shoot Stephen A. Smith, announces it on #1 Fusco show. Is that what you're saying?
What I said was I would flick Stephen A. Smith on his forehead and he would fall over crying in a fetal position. I would pimp slap Stephen A.
We find this very troubling. This is like shades of West Coast versus East Coast beef.
Yeah, you're like the Biggie
and
Smalls,
Tupac.
right?
Yeah, you're Biggie, obviously. What are you? Do you want to repeat that kind of history?
I do not, but these guys want to bring smoke to me.
This does seem like it's escalating into rap wars, except just not as glamorous or as interesting.
Yeah, it's not a rap war on my end. I got nothing but love for any of these guys. I'm not looking for trouble from anybody, but guys want to talk tough and bring it to me. Okay.
Well, how do you respond to the allegations that you are doing this just for views?
Yeah.
But actually, hold on. Before you answer that, don't forget you can get 20% off in the official Fusco Show merch store January 24th to the 28th. Okay, Jason, now go ahead and answer that question.
I think they're truthful allegations. How about that? No, yes, everything I do on my show is about getting viewers.
There you go.
I tell the truth on my show because truth is in such short supply. And so, yeah, I'm exposing the truth about Stephen A. Smith. He's a plant. He's got a fictional background and narrative. Cat Williams, in his interview with Shannon Sharp, was pointing out these people, and I just pointed you to one in the sports media world, no different than Kevin Hart, no different than what Cat Williams was talking about.
Jason, I gotta say, I'm very concerned about what you're doing here.
Yeah, we're concerned here.
As Stephen A. said while he was calling you a fat bastard, we're all part of the sports media community, and it's important that we all treat each other with respect.
Yep, we're a family.
So we're going to do one last thing here. We want you to look in the camera. There are a lot of people in this business who look up to sports journalists. They don't look up to you mostly, but they look up to sports journalists.
Yep.
And they're looking to you right now to set an example. So just look at the camera and apologize to Stephen A. Smith, and let's just settle this beef right now. Come on.
Stephen A., had I known you were not man enough to handle a book review, I would have never written and talked about your book, Straight Shooting Lies, I think is what it's called, a memoir.
In the bestseller, Straight Shooter. Keep going. Get the title right, Jason. This is part of the apology. Go.
Yeah. So, Stephen A., I apologize that you're not as manly as Mitch Albom. I wrote a tough review of his book.
Okay,
Jason,
that's it.
You don't want to take advice from anyone.
We tried to help you.
I'm apologizing.
Here's some advice.
Yo.
You're off the show.
You're off the show. You're Whitlocked out for good.
More like Tim Whitlock.
See ya. Off the show.
Fusco Satellite
Is he
Network.
off the line?
Jay, hang up the phone.
We're never having that fool on this show again, period.
Yeah, we're going to block him from ever coming back here again.
Good one, Tony.